Hey guys, my name's Miranda Hagerman, and for this week we were assigned to pick out a informational book. The informational book that I chose for this week is called Hurricane Katrina. It's a part of the Discover More Readers Scholastic series, and it was written by Gail Tuchman. It's got an interest level of, it says on the back, it appeals to first and second graders. It has a Lexile level of 600L, and its reading level is grade 2. And it says that on the back right here. So it's pretty short, so I'll go ahead and read it. I chose this book because I saw it in the library and I thought it would be an interesting topic to do an informational book on. And it turned out to be really, really cool. I like the Scholastic books, and they have really, really amazing pictures, information. It kind of drew me in, all of their pictures and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and read it. It's got the table of contents right here. So we'll go ahead and start. Tracking the storm. Hurricane Hunter Jack Parrish has flown into 60 hurricanes. He has flown into a hurricane's eye or center 523 times. Jack tracks storms before they hit. He lets people know about them. On August 23rd, 2005, Jack was tracking a storm east of Florida. This is the storm's eye, it points out. This is a picture of a hurricane. It was early in the storm's life. It was still weak. I flew low right through the storm's eye wall. It got stronger quickly. And this is a picture of Jack the hurricane hunter. The next day, the National Hurricane Center named the storm Katrina. It warned people in southern Florida to be careful. On August 25th, Katrina made landfall near Miami, Florida. It was a Category 1 hurricane. This was its first landfall. Over here, it shows the categories and the wind speeds. Category 1, 74 to 95 miles per hour. And it has the date right here. August 25th, 2005, Florida. The wind speeds were 80, and it was a status Category 1 hurricane. This scale tells people how strong the hurricane is. Katrina grew stronger over the next 2 days. It moved into the Gulf of Mexico. It gained energy from the warm, deep water. Its wind sped up. By August 27th, it was a Category 3. Jack Parrish was flying all around Katrina on a high-flying jet. In quotations, I needed to get information to forecast what Katrina would do next. Where was it going? How strong would it be? I soon knew there was nothing that would stop this storm from exploding. And then there's another picture of Jack. Over here is a picture of the jet, and right here are different pictures from the hurricane. Hurricane hunters always carry high-tech gadgets. This is a picture of the gadget. This special tube is dropped into a hurricane. It measures the hurricane's strength and speed. By August 28th, Hurricane Katrina had doubled in size. Its wind swirled at 175 miles per hour, as fast as a high-speed train. This giant Category 5 hurricane was now roaring toward New Orleans, Louisiana. And then it has the different stagings. When it was a Category 1, a Category 2, and now a Category 5. Date, August 28th, 2005. Location, Gulf of Mexico. Wind speed, 175 miles an hour. Status, Category 5. And it has a map of the path that it was taking. Hurricane Katrina was heading for New Orleans. The mayor ordered everyone in the city to evacuate, but many people could not leave. Many were worried about their homes and families. This was people lined up to get into a place to keep them protected. A shelter was set up in the Superdome, the city's sports stadium. Those left behind could wait out the storm there. And this is the line going in. And then it has a little fun fact. Over 100,000 people in New Orleans did not evacuate. Katrina strikes. At 6:10 a.m. on August 29th, Katrina crashed into the Gulf Coast. Its wind speed was 125 miles an hour. It made landfall for the second time 65 miles south of New Orleans. Katrina destroyed towns and cities along the Gulf Coast. Then it moved inland. Strong winds caused the water to rise. A powerful wall of water pushed onto the shore and hit the land. On August 29, 2005, the location was the Gulf Coast. Wind speed 125, it was down to a Category 3. A fact, in Pass Christian, Mississippi, the water was 27.8 feet high. The storm surge hit New Orleans. The city is like a bowl surrounded by water. There were levees, large earth walls around it. They were meant to protect the city from flooding, but the levees broke. Water burst through, it spilled over the levees. New Orleans was flooded from both sides. This was August 30th, 2005. There is a lake on one side of New Orleans, and then there's a levee, and then New Orleans, another levee, and then there is a river on the other side. So they're literally like a little bowl. New Orleans filled with water, and the water kept rising. Pumps to drain the water failed. Soon most of the city was underwater. People were still sheltering at the Superdome. Winds had ripped off part of the roof. Water leaked in. There was no power. People were hungry and thirsty. People trapped at home wrote on their rooftops, "Please help us." Other people had held onto heavy objects to stay above water. The Superdome was no longer a safe shelter because its roof caved in. And here's a picture of all the homes underwater. To the rescue. Rescue workers searched for people. Helicopters lifted people off roofs. Boats pulled them from the water. Volunteers rushed to help neighbors. The U.S. military was sent in. Many survivors had been rescued by September 5th, a week after landfall. It's a fact. A 76-year-old man was rescued 18 days after Katrina hit. The U.S. Coast Guard rescued about 33,000 people. Many dogs and other pets had to be rescued as well. After the hurricane, it took about 5 weeks to drain New Orleans and nearby areas of 250 billion gallons of water. People began to return to their homes a month after Katrina had hit the city. Garanika Richardson, then age 12, cried when she came back to her old house. In quotations, "It was so quiet and dark, no lights, no people, no birds, no animals. It was like a ghost town. It smelled and you didn't hear anything." People started to rebuild their lives. Dave and Judy Walker went back to work. In quotations, "Judy and I write for a New Orleans newspaper. Katrina is still in stories I write. After Katrina, Judy asked people to send in old family recipes. This helped other people replace recipes swept away by the flood. They could save this important part of their history." Rebuilding homes. This was a home in 2005 destroyed, and then this was their house rebuilt in 2014. Looking ahead. No one will forget Hurricane Katrina. In the Gulf Coast area, 1,836 people lost their lives. Over 1 million homes were damaged, but the floodwaters could not wash away the strength and the spirit of people in New Orleans. Recovering from the hurricane has been a long and painful process, but today New Orleans is alive and hopeful. Katrina in numbers. These are a bunch of numbers and facts. Here are some facts and figures about Katrina. 1.2 million people left the New Orleans area in the days before Katrina landed. Hurricane Katrina struck 90,000 square miles of land. 8 dolphins were rescued 2 weeks after being swept out of a water park. 502 vessels ended up on dry land. 7.4 million gallons of oil poured into the water. The levees protecting New Orleans failed in at least 50 places. 80% of New Orleans was underwater. 25,000 people took shelter at the Superdome. 60,000 people could not get out of their homes. They stayed in attics or on roofs until they were rescued. 68 million meals and snacks were given out by Red Cross volunteers. Hurricane Katrina caused a lot of damage. It cost $96 to $125 billion. That's the end. They also have a really cool glossary. It has words as well as their definitions to help kids better understand what they're reading. If they have any questions, they can go back to the glossary. It also has an index. So basically, it was just a chronological narrative of Hurricane Katrina. It was one of the most destructive storms in U.S. history. It was one of the worst U.S. hurricanes ever experienced. So, yeah, that's what I liked about this book was you saw all of the great pictures and all of the fun facts that it included, all of the testimonials, the vocabulary, the infographics, the maps and charts. It also was really easy to read and understand. It went through chronologically, and it kind of almost made you feel a part of the storm, you know, going through it and hearing the testimonies of the different people. It really kept you reading and made you feel like you were a part of it. So that's the informational book that I chose for this week, and I'm really excited to see what you guys bring for this week as well. Thank you so much.